This is a grey night. For an amateur astronomer, is the least interesting time of the year. The sun sets. Eventually, it will sink beneath the horizon. At Civil Dusk, the center of the sun's disk goes 6 degrees below the skyline. It marks the end of civil twilight. When it sinks deeper, things get increasingly dark. Civil dusk becomes nautical twilight. Nautical dusk becomes astronomical twilight. When the sun sinks below 18 degrees, astronomical dusk becomes night. This time of year, though, the sun doesn't go much lower than 6 degrees beneath the horizon. At least not around here. Although the sun is gone, objects remain distinguishable from their surroundings. Simultaneously, and depending on weather conditions, some stars and planets may start to become visible to the naked eye. The sun will continue to throw light onto the sky. There will be no astronomical darkness for about another month. This is a grey night. You open the back door and cross the threshold into the small garden. You pass between the tall grasses and herbs. White sage, lamb's ear, prairie gay feather. Beneath a small overhanging roof are 2 shovels, a table with leftover potting soil, a lawnmower, and Tony's dust-covered bicycle with the broken handlebar and 2 flat tires. There are people talking a couple of houses further down the road. You have the flashlight with you, but don't turn it on. It's not completely dark yet. Won't be all night. And even so, you know the cobbled path by heart. The hinges on the garden shed's door squeak. They need some oiling. They squeak less while closing the door. Inside the shed, on one wall, there's the card you got for Father's Day. It's a reproduction of Granville's drawing, Eclipse Conjugal. The chair, the desk, the electric stove for the cold winter nights. You brought your laptop and hook it up to the Ethernet cable. The small lights there. The notebook you left open on the page with yesterday's observations. The telescope. You undo a clasp in a corner of the shed, near the roof. The other one on the opposite side. You know you need to pull a little harder. planet Uranus should have followed a course as predicted by Newton's laws. It didn't. There were residuals, the 19th century observers said. Irregularities, deviations from the projected course. They could think of three possibilities. A. The planet Uranus is too far away from the Sun, which might render the law of gravitation invalid. B. The observations are incorrect. C. There is another planet, still further and yet unknown, with its own gravitational field and pull, causing Uranus to deviate from its projected course. Following hypothesis C, astronomers predicted the position of a planet with a gravitational field influencing Uranus by means of mathematical calculations. Telescopes were directed to that calculated spot. There was a luminous point with a touch of blue. Neptune was found. Not that it hadn't been seen before. It had. It just wasn't the planet Neptune yet. You stretch out your arms and push against the northeast face of the shed. You have to put your back into it. The wheels are set in motion. They roll in two steel gutters, embedded in the concrete platform. Regardless of how often you sweep the concrete, every time there's grit, dirt, or needles from the pine tree impeding a fluent movement. Among the hedges, the swing, the trees, the houses, the fences, your shed with the green shingled roof moves. From your neighbor's first floor bedroom, it must look peculiar, like a glitch in her field of vision. A geometrical patch of artichoke green, steadily shifting to one side. It takes some time, but after a few minutes, it has moved 2 meters southwest. The chair, the desk, the small light, and the stove have all moved southwest with it. You secure the barrel bolts in the holes you drilled in the concrete. In the open air now, the instrument needs some time to adapt to the outside temperature. You boot the laptop and log on to the Solar System Miscellaneous and Off-Topic subforum of Halley's Committee. Martin 62 and Fraunhofer are online. Martin 62 lives by the sea. It's not entirely clear who's being addressed. The nearest shore is a 6-hour drive away. You take the plastic chair out of the shed and put it on the concrete platform next to the instrument. Standing on the chair, you take the lid off and put it in the shed. With the push of a button, the instrument is set in motion. It takes cues from the night sky to calibrate its position. You watch it move automatically and hear the cogs and wheels working. It's an animal, spying for predators. No clouds. A waxing crescent moon. For a gray night like this, seeing conditions could be worse. Allow time for the telescope mirror to attain the outdoor temperature if you have brought the telescope outdoors from a warmer or cooler indoor environment. If, say, a warm mirror and telescope tube are cooling down while you're observing, there will be tube currents set up in the air inside the telescope. Also, the figure of the mirror may be temporarily distorted due to temperature changes. Both of these effects will result in image unsteadiness and deterioration. A picture of a squirrel in the woods. A picture of a squirrel in the woods. A question about the advantages of a dome versus a rollaway observatory. A picture of a squirrel in the woods. A 2-minute movie of a man moving a green-roofed shed southwest. At what distance a license plate can still be read with a telescope. A picture of a seagull. A picture of a bridge near Guffey, Idaho. A link to the Green Line Roll-Off Roof Observatory at astroshop.com. A picture of a seagull. A picture of a church in Melba, Idaho. A picture of 3 seagulls. Utah, V58, 6AF. Life elevated. Post deleted by Fraunhofer. Post deleted by Fraunhofer. Haha. Complaints about the weather. A 2-minute video of a man moving a green-roofed shed northeast. US dollars, 1,350. A picture of a squirrel in the woods. Each night, a plethora of amateur astronomers gazes into the sky. Their instruments and locations are often inferior to the means available to professionals. Yet, what they lack in darkness and mirror surface, they make up in the collectivity of their observations. They are patient observers, spread around the globe, not bound to the strict schedules of the large telescopes in the Atacama Desert. When amateur astronomy became fashionable, it led to a surge of information stemming from a large group of distinct observers: seafarers, physicians, typists, masons. Theirs were valuable data, but if they were to be put to scientific use, they needed to be standardized. How to overcome the subjective element inherent in every empirical observation? The amateurs had to be instructed to recognize patterns by means of visual examples. They had to be trained to use the right terms to describe their observations. They had to turn chaos into order. It was hard to pinpoint how a nebula could be discerned. A red giant, Neptune's faint blue-greenish color. It's a matter of experience, hard to put down into words. You think about the things you are seeing before they will be what they are. One day you went to Sweden to see the eclipse. It rained all day, relentlessly. The sky is getting cloudy. At times, you can't discern a single star. Only the moon faintly shimmers through the clouds. There's a smell of herbs burning on coal from a neighbor's barbecue. You know that a cloud-filled sky would end tonight's observation. If the cloud cover increases, you will be wheeling the shed back over the instrument. It is said that if a space traveler were unfortunate enough to enter the atmosphere of one of the giant planets, such as Neptune, he or she would not find a single solid surface. Instead, as he or she descended into the planet, our traveler would find that the temperature, pressure, and density would all continue to increase smoothly, with no sharp transitions. Assuming that he or she was adequately protected from the temperature, pressure, and radiation, our traveler would eventually float at that level in the atmosphere, where the surrounding density and his or her own density were equal. It is said that it storms on Neptune violently, 1,200 miles per hour. They observed a great dark spot and called it the Great Dark Spot. It rains diamonds on Neptune. And then, all of a sudden, while your thoughts meander, the herbs burning on the coals, the empty house dark to keep light from disturbing your seeing, the sound of a single car driving too fast towards the bend, the tall grasses rustling in the evening breeze. Then, while you are looking through the instrument next to the wandering shed, and clouds coming in from the north, in a peculiar mix of melancholy and fulfillment and solitude, and effects which haven't been named yet, surging and engulfing the air. Then, while the car is speeding in the unlit neighborhood streets that caught your attention when you were searching for a house to buy, with the barking dog, the tomato plants, the unlit flashlight on the desk. You recognize what you are looking at.